In the annals of human history, few figures loom as large as Winston Churchill. The very mention of his name conjures images of unyielding resolve, of a bulldog spirit that defied the gravis threats to freedom. He led Britain through its darkest hour, a time when the world teetered on the brink of Nazi domination. But what was the true cost of that leadership? What were the hidden battles, the crushing defeats, the moments of profound doubt that forged his unbreakable will? Asterisked Today, we're not just going to celebrate Churchill's triumphs, we're going to delve deeper. Beyond the iconic speeches and the well-worn anecdotes, we're going to uncover 5 untold stories of his astonishing resilience during World War II. Moments that shaped his leadership, revealed the true depth of his character, and offer invaluable lessons for us all today. This isn't just history, it's a blueprint for enduring adversity. So, settle in, because you're about to witness the making of a legend. Asterisk Unbreakable Spirit, 5 untold stories of Churchill's World War. To resilience. Asterisk Story 1, the Norway debate and the political wilderness. Asterisk Our first story takes us back to May 1940. Just before Churchill became Prime Minister, he was First Lord of the Admiralty, a crucial wartime role. But his political career had been a roller coaster of highs and devastating lows. The Allied campaign in Norway was a disaster, a series of strategic blunders that left Britain humiliated and exposed. The public mood was grim, and anger was brewing in Parliament. Asterisk On May 7th and 8th, the House of Commons erupted in what became known as the Norway debate. Churchill, despite his position, was heavily implicated in the failures. Speaker after speaker condemned the government's handling of the war. Imagine the pressure, a nation losing faith, a political career hanging by a thread, and the looming shadow of Nazi Germany. Many expected Churchill to be sacrificed, perhaps even exiled from power for good. Asterisk, but instead of crumbling, Churchill faced his accusers head-on. He admitted mistakes, yes, but he also passionately defended the efforts of the Navy and rallied support for the continuation of the war. Though the debate ultimately led to Neville Chamberlain's resignation, it was Churchill's defiant stand, his refusal to be broken by a public failure, that surprised many. This wasn't about avoiding blame, it was about demonstrating an unshakable commitment to the war effort, regardless of personal cost. It was a brutal dress rehearsal for the premiership, proving that even after a monumental defeat, he possessed the courage to rise again. Asterisk For a deeper dive into the political climate of the time, I highly recommend the BBC Radio 4 series The Churchill Years, particularly the episodes covering the lead-up to his premiership. You'll hear excerpts from the actual Norway debate. Asterisk Story 2, Dunkirk's darkest hour, and the miracle of resolve. Asterisk The fall of France, the seemingly unstoppable German blitzkrieg, and the trapping of over 300 Allied soldiers on the beaches of Dunkirk. This was Churchill's baptism by fire as Prime Minister, and it was a crucible of unimaginable pressure. The military generals, faced with what seemed like inevitable annihilation, were preparing for the worst. The mood in London was one of utter despair. Asterisk It's often spoken of as the miracle of Dunkirk, and while the courage of the ordinary people and the Royal Navy was indeed miraculous, Churchill's role in galvanizing that effort, in refusing to accept defeat, is often understated. He resisted calls for a negotiated peace, even when some in his war cabinet saw it as the only option. He understood that surrender, even under such dire circumstances, would be the end of Britain as a free nation. Asterisk His famous "We shall fight" on the beaches speech, delivered just days after the evacuation began, wasn't just rhetoric. It was a defiant roar of resistance, a psychological weapon against the tide of despondency. Think about it. A nation on its knees, and its leader stands up and says, "We will never surrender." This wasn't bravado. It was a profound act of leadership, demonstrating that even when all hope seemed lost, a leader's conviction can ignite the spirit of an entire nation. The sheer mental fortitude required to reject the counsel of despair and instead inspire. An audacious rescue mission is a testament to his unparalleled resilience. Asterisk Consider the logistical nightmare of Dunkirk. Churchill's leadership involved not just rousing speeches, but also intense, round-the-clock meetings, pushing for every available vessel. and making incredibly tough decisions under immense pressure. It was a masterclass in strategic improvisation, born from an unshakable belief in victory. Asterisk Story 3, the bombing of Coventry and the burden of secrecy. Not all of Churchill's battles were fought on the public stage. Some were fought in the silent, agonizing chambers of his own mind, burdened by the weight of unimaginable secrets. One of the most heartbreaking examples is the bombing of Coventry in November 1940. British intelligence, thanks to the invaluable work of Bletchley Park and the ultra-decoding efforts, had advance warning of the impending German raid. Churchill knew that Coventry was a target, but here's the agonizing dilemma. If he evacuated the city, or overtly defended it with disproportionate force, it would reveal that the British had broken the Enigma code. This would have been a catastrophic blow to Allied intelligence, potentially prolonging the war by years. Churchill made the agonizing decision not to issue a full-scale warning, choosing to protect the ultra-secret, even at the cost of his own people's lives and the devastation of a major British city. Imagine the personal torment to know, to have the power to save lives, and yet to make the strategic choice to allow a disaster to unfold for the greater good. This was a moment of profound moral courage, a hidden burden of leadership that few leaders ever face. It reveals a resilience that wasn't about bouncing back from a public setback, but about carrying an unspeakable weight for the strategic advantage of the nation. This incident highlights the immense ethical complexities of wartime leadership and the extraordinary value of intelligence in shaping strategic decisions. Story 4, the Desert War setbacks and the unwavering faith in Wavell. The North African campaign, particularly in its early stages, was a brutal and often disheartening saga for the British. Under the command of General Archibald Wavell, British forces faced a formidable opponent in the German Afrika Korps, led by Rommel. There were victories, yes, but also crushing defeats, retreats, and periods of stalemate that severely tested Churchill's patience and resolve. The public, weary of war, was demanding results. Generals were often scapegoated for setbacks, yet, despite the pressure, despite the personal frustrations he undoubtedly felt, Churchill largely stood by Wavell for a considerable period. He understood the immense logistical challenges of fighting in the desert, the limitations of resources, and the quality of the enemy. While he eventually replaced Wavell, it was only after careful consideration and a genuine effort to give his commander the resources and support needed. This unwavering faith, even in the face of repeated setbacks and public criticism, demonstrates a different kind of resilience, the ability to trust his judgment, to resist the urge for knee-jerk reactions, and to understand the complexities of the battlefield. It shows a leader who could absorb criticism, learn from mistakes, but ultimately maintain his strategic vision without succumbing to panic or short-sighted solutions. This long-term perspective was crucial for ultimately securing victory in North Africa. Think about how easy it would have been for Churchill to buckle under political pressure and constantly reshuffle his military command. His restraint, even when things look bleak, speaks volumes about his strategic mind and his ability to see the bigger picture. Story 5, the post-war election defeat and his undying commitment. After years of tireless leadership, after guiding Britain through the most cataclysmic conflict in human history, Churchill emerged from World War to a global hero. V-Day celebrations were a testament to his immense popularity and the nation's gratitude. Yet, just weeks later, in July 1945, the British public delivered a stunning blow. They voted him out of office in a landslide election. Imagine the emotional whiplash. From the pinnacle of wartime glory to a crushing electoral defeat. For many, this would have been a bitter and humiliating end to a remarkable career. But not for Churchill. While undoubtedly disappointed, he accepted the democratic will of the people with grace and dignity. He famously quipped, "They have a right to choose," and he immediately offered his full support to the new Labour government, ensuring a smooth transition of power. This final story of resilience is perhaps the most profound. It's not about bouncing back from a military defeat, but from a personal and political one. After achieving the greatest triumph of his life, It demonstrates his fundamental belief in the democratic process, his selflessness, and his enduring commitment to the welfare of the nation above personal glory. He could have chosen bitterness or resentment, but instead, he chose statesmanship. He continued to serve, to offer counsel, and eventually to return to power. This was the ultimate testament to a spirit that simply refused to be broken. A man whose purpose extended far beyond the confines of a single office. Asterisk for a fascinating perspective on this period. Listen to Clement Attlee's acceptance speech after the 1945 election. It provides great context to Churchill's gracious concession. Also, any good biography of Churchill will delve into his activities as leader of the opposition and his eventual return to Downing Street. Asterisk conclusion. Lessons for today. Asterisk from the political wilderness to the ashes of bombed cities. From the agonizing decisions of war to the sting of electoral defeat. Winston Churchill's journey was a relentless test of his resolve. These untold stories reveal a leader who was not infallible, who faced doubt and despair, but who always found a way to push forward. Asterisk, what can we learn from his unbreakable spirit today? It's the courage to face failure head-on or embrace difficult truths, to make agonizing choices for the greater good, to persevere even when the odds seem insurmountable, and to accept setbacks with grace and continue serving a purpose larger than oneself. Asterisk, Churchill's resilience wasn't a secret formula, but a profound commitment to duty, an unshakable belief in freedom, and an extraordinary capacity to endure. In a world that constantly presents us with challenges, his legacy reminds us that even in our darkest days, the human spirit, when fueled by conviction and courage, can truly be unbreakable. Asterisk, some powerful quote from Churchill related to resilience. Never given, never, nothing, great or small, large or petty. Never given except to convictions of honor and good sense. Asterisk, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment for more upcoming videos.